Chapter 7 of Spacehounds of IPC by E. Doc Smith. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Spacehounds of IPC Chapter 7 The Return to Ganymede. "Must you go back to Ganymede?" Barkovus asked, slowly and thoughtfully. He was sitting upon a crystal bench beside the fountain, talking with Stevens, who, dressed in his bulging spacesuit, stood near an airlock of the Forlorn Hope. "It seems a shame that you should face again those unknown monstrous creatures who so inexcusably attacked us both without provocation." "I'm not so keen on it myself, but I can't see any other way out of it," the terrestrial replied. "We left a lot of our equipment there, you know, and even if I should build duplicates here, it wouldn't do us any good. These 1019s are the most powerful transmitting tubes known when we left Tellus, but even their fields, dense as they are, can't hold an ultra-beam together much farther than about 6 astronomical units. So you see, we can't possibly reach our friends from here with this tube, and your system of beam transmission won't hold anything together even that far, and won't work on any wave shorter than Roser's rays. We may run into some more of these little spheres, though, and I don't like the prospect. I wonder if we couldn't plate a layer of that mirror of yours upon the Hope and carry along a few of those bombs? By the way, what is that explosive? Or is it something beyond Tellurian chemistry? Its structure should be clear to you, although you probably could not prepare it upon Tellus because of your high temperature. It is nothing but nitrogen. 26 atoms of nitrogen combine to form one molecule of what you would call N26? "Wow," Stevens whistled. "Crystalline pentavalent nitrogen. No wonder it's violent." "We could, of course, cover your vessel with the mirror, but I'm afraid that it would prove of little value. The plates are so hot that it would soon volatilize." "Not necessarily," argued Stevens. "We could live in number 1 lifeboat, and shut off the heat everywhere else. The lifeboats are insulated from the structure proper, and the inner and outer walls of the structure are insulated from each other. With only the headquarters lifeboat warm, the outer wall could be held pretty close to zero absolute." "That is true. The bombs, of course, are controlled by radio, and therefore may be attached to the outer wall of your vessel. We shall be glad to do these small things for you." The heaters of the Forlorn Hope were shut off, and as soon as the outer shell had cooled to titanian temperature, a corps of mechanics set to work. A machine very like a concrete mixer was rolled up beside the steel vessel, and into its capacious maw were dumped boxes and barrels of dry ingredients and many cans of sparkling liquid. The resultant paste was pumped upon the steel plating in a sluggish, viscid stream, which spread out into a thick and uniform coating beneath the flying rollers of the skilled titanian workmen. As it hardened, the paste smoothed magically into the perfect mirror which covered the space vessels of the satellite, and a full dozen of the mirror explosive bombs of this strange people were hung in the racks already provided. "Once again, I must caution you concerning those torpedoes," Barkovus warned Stevens. "If you use them all, very well, but do not try to take even one of them into any region where it is very hot, for it will explode and demolish your vessel. If you do not use them, destroy them before you descend into the hot atmosphere of Ganymede. The mirror will volatilize harmlessly at the temperature of melting mercury, but the torpedoes must be destroyed. Once more, Tellurians, we thank you for what you have done, and wish you well." "Thanks a lot for your help. We still owe you something," replied Stevens. "If either of your power plants goes sour on you again, or if you need any more built, be sure to let us know. You can come close enough to the inner planets now on your own beam to talk to us on the ultra-communicator. We'll be glad to help you any way we can, and we may call on you for help again. Goodbye, Barkovus. Goodbye, all Titania." He made his way through the bitterly cold shop into the control room of their lifeboat, and while he was divesting himself of his heavy suit, Nadia lifted the forlorn hope into the blue-green sky of Titan, accompanied by an escort of the mirrored globes. Well clear of the atmosphere of the satellite, the terrestrial cruiser shot forward at normal acceleration, while the Titanian vessels halted and wove a pattern of blue and golden rays in salute to the departing guests. "Well, Nadia, we're off, on a long trek, too," said One Long Hop, the Chinese pilote. Nadia agreed. "Sure everything's all X, big boy?" "To 19 decimals," he declared. "You couldn't squeeze another franc into our accumulators with a proof bar, and since they're sending us all the power we want to draw, we won't need to touch our batteries or tap our own beam until we're almost to Jupiter. To cap the climax, what it takes to make big medicine on those spherical friends of ours, we've got. We're not sitting on top of the world, Ace. We've perched exactly at the apex of the entire universe." "How long is it going to take?" "Don't know. Haven't figured it yet, but it'll be beaucoup days." And the two wanderers from far distant Earth settled down to the routine of a long and uneventful journey. They gave Saturn and its spectacular rings a wide berth and sped on, with ever-increasing velocity. Past the outer satellites, on and on, the good ship Forlorn Hope flew into the black and brilliant depths of interplanetary space. Saturn was an ever-diminishing disk beneath them. Above them was Jupiter's thin crescent, growing ever larger and more bright, and the monarch of the solar system, remaining almost stationary day after day, increasing steadily in apparent diameter and in brilliance. Although the voyage from Titan to Ganymede was long, it was not monotonous, for there was much work to be done in the designing and fabrication of the various units which were to comprise the ultra-radio transmitting station. In the various compartments of the Forlorn Hope there were sundry small motors, blowers, coils, condensers, force-field generators, and other items which Stevens could use with little or no alteration, but for the most part he had to build everything himself. Thus it was that time passed quickly, so quickly that Jupiter loomed large and the Saturnian beam of power began to attenuate almost before the terrestrials realized that their journey was drawing to an end. "Our beam's falling apart fast." Stevens read his meters carefully, then swung his communicator beam toward Jupiter. "We aren't getting quite enough power to hold our acceleration at normal. Think I'll cut now, while we're still drawing enough to let the Titanians know we're off their beam. We've got lots of power of our own now, and we're getting pretty close to enemy territory, so they may locate that heavy beam. Have you found Ganymede yet?" "Yes, it will be on the other side of Jupiter by the time we get there. Shall I detour, or put on a little more negative and wait for it to come around to this side?" "Better wait, I think. The farther away we stay from Jupiter and the major satellites, the better." "All X, it's on. Suppose we better start standing watches in case some of them show up?" "No use," he dissented. "I've been afraid to put out our electromagnetic detectors, as they could surely trace them in use. Without them, we couldn't spot an enemy ship even if we were looking right at it, except by accident. Since they won't be lighted up and it's awfully hard to see anything out here anyway, we probably won't know they're within 1,000,000 kilometers until they put a beam on us. Barkovas says that this mirror will reflect any beam they can use, and I've already got a set of photocells in circuit to ring an alarm at the first flash off of our mirror plating. I'd like to get in the first licks myself, but I haven't been able to dope out any way of doing it. So you might as well sleep in your own room, as usual, and I'll camp here right under the panel until we get to Ganymede. There's a couple of little things I just thought of, though, that may help some, and I'm going to do 'em right now." Putting on his spacesuit, he picked up a power drill and went out into the bitter cold of the outer structure. There he attacked the inner wall of their vessel, and the carefully established interwall vacuum disappeared in a screaming hiss of air.